David Miller, you're Chief Security Officer at Covisint. Can you please outline what Covisint offers in terms of connected vehicle technology?
So Covisint was born in the automotive industry, connecting suppliers to OEMs, and it's really a cloud-based system, creating something that we call systems of engagement. And in the connected vehicle industry, Covisint really allows those same OEMs to connect directly to the drivers. So it's not as much the vehicle that is the connectivity point, although from a network it is. But if you really think about it, it's connected driver. So it's that ability of the driver of the vehicle to be connected. We offer a set of services in the cloud that give that driver the experience, not just in the vehicles. So for example, the ability to start his car remotely or be able to stream, but also on the web, so that when you're outside of your vehicle, so for example, downloading a map that you want to be able to utilize in your car, but you're going to do it externally. We provide the portal services, the identity services that know that that actual driver is associated with that actual vehicle.
Okay, thank you. How secure is the cloud for driver and car-related data?
So we believe the cloud is actually the best place to store that type of information. Now today, it really is not regulated. But if you take a look at where a lot of regulation is going, which is really related to a lot of the privacy issues associated with what a vehicle knows about you. So certainly it knows what music you listen to, but it knows where you are, right? It knows how you got there. It knows whether you were speeding or not, right? Where that information is secured is important. Now the vehicle is a somewhat insecure environment in the fact that people can get to it and actually steal it. The cloud, on the other hand, basically is in the cloud. So it's where we host our web banking. It's where we host our healthcare records. It's where we host all of that. So there's a significant amount of history in that. And it's one of the reasons why we think the cloud is really the most secure place to be able to put those types of assets and data.
Do you think that users want to be tracked, as it were? If the cloud knows where the car is, do users just want to get in a car and go for a drive, but still be able to use certain services like music? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, so I think if asked, drivers would say, no, I don't want to be tracked. But I believe the services that they want, which require them to be tracked, are things that they don't connect with the fact that they're being tracked. So if you asked a driver, would it be nice if your car was stolen, if you knew where it was, they'd say yes. Well, the car doesn't know it's stolen, so obviously it has to track you when you're driving also. But I think one of the advantages, again, of putting this in the cloud and letting users use the web as a method of configuring what can and can't be done is you can turn things on and off. Maybe you decide you don't want tracking, and yeah, that means that if your car is stolen, you won't be able to find out where it is, or maybe you do want that, or maybe it's times of day, or maybe it's driver specific. Again, the focus needs to really be on the connected driver. So maybe I don't want it tracked when I'm driving because I own the car, but I really want it tracked when my son is driving because he doesn't own the car.
Okay. Can you talk about the challenges facing software and IT industry related companies when they're supplying the automotive industry for connected vehicle technology?
So the biggest challenge here is the fact that right now, because of the liability issues with things like distracted driving, right, the security issues with the fact that vehicles, and if you look at the safety and security bus, have the ability to do things like operate the brakes, sometimes actually even turn the car. The biggest issue is the fact that the OEMs are going to want to keep very, very tight control. It's going to be a fairly closed system. Now that means that if you write for it, you're going to have to write just for that. It's very unlikely in the short term that you're going to have to be able to write an application that integrates seamlessly with a General Motors vehicle, that same application would integrate seamlessly with a Ford vehicle. Right. And so you probably are going to have multiple versions of those applications. That is a cost to developers, and that becomes more of a difficult issue. I think in the long run, those things will move to a more standard-based system where there will be some sharing. But I think right now, it's going to be fairly closed. And what you're going to have to do is kind of pick the player that you want to partner with. And you're going to get some niche apps that are General Motors niche apps, right? Ford niche apps, right? Nissan niche apps, and things like that. I think that's is a major challenge. The other big challenge is back to that liability. What liability do I take on by creating an application that does something in the vehicle? And if that application is used in a way it wasn't intended, and somebody gets into an accident, do I, as a developer, have liability or not? You know, on my phone, I guess the worst that happens is my app makes my phone lock up and I can't get a phone call. It's a little bit different in vehicles.
And do you think the industry is or could be receptive to the idea of common platforms for data sharing and device connectivity?
I think right now, if you ask them, they would say, absolutely, in the future we're interested in that, but everything they're doing is not a common platform, right? It's specific. And I think it's a control thing. This is the connected vehicle is really a part of our revenue stream now, and we really need to get it right, and we can't go through the process of designing something that works for everyone but works for no one, if you've seen the way some standards work. I believe that once they get some connected vehicle capability in, that what you're going to see is more and more and more of cooperation between organizations, probably starting at the lower level APIs and then moving up towards some user interface items.
And how long do you think it might take before there are common platforms?
Everything in automotive takes 5 years.
Right.
So I would guess this iteration, the next 3 to 4 years, you're going to see unique offerings for each vehicle, or each OEM. And then I think in the next iteration, right, which really would be, maybe it's the V2.0 connected vehicle, we'll start using some common connectivity platforms.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.